Hello, champions. This is Justice Calo Rain, and we are on day 3 of You and I Are One, 30 days to bring family, friends, and community together. So we're doing our daily intentions, and one of the things that I really enjoy about this is that I get to introduce you all to the people in my life that I really care about, that have meant something to me, and that really have some pretty amazing qualities that I think that if I appropriated into my life would make my life better. So you guys get to really be introduced to some really amazing people, and I have such a varied group of people that I call my community that you guys are really going to be able to experience some really amazing people, and I think some different experiences that maybe you haven't had before. So I am excited to introduce you to Kaye Amadora Taylor, I apologize. And Kaye is, to me, you guys we're really going to just be very, very authentic, because Kaye is someone who I almost married Kaye. So Kaye and I knew each other back when I was coaching at University of Louisville. So that was back, what year was that? Well, Kaye, say hello to everybody first of all.
Hi, everyone.
And so Kaye is
2004, I believe.
Yeah, 2004. You're right. And Kaye is a pre-op transsexual woman. Kaye is actually right now completing 14 months of a cosmetology school in Nebraska. So she's completing about 2,100 hours of school. She's almost done with that. She graduates April 5th, and she is in Nebraska. Kaye, let me kind of tell you about my experience with Kaye. Kaye is just, I'm still actually in the process right now of deciding which quality of Kaye sticks out to me. There's a couple things about Kaye that kind of really, really, really stick out. One, Kaye is like a natural-born leader, and she kind of has this ability to be the ringleader of her community. She just kind of naturally pulls people in and very naturally kind of operates in this way where people kind of just follow her, and she has this. It's really almost uncanny. And then also, Kaye is probably one of the most resilient people I know. There's a strength about her that just is. You notice it right away that she is extremely strong, and you notice right away that she keeps bouncing back from experiences. So I don't know, Kaye, which one of those is kind of perking you up a little bit most do you want to talk about?
I want to go with just being strong and bouncing back.
Okay, perfect. And let me kind of tell you one of my favorite experiences of Kaye and this kind of strength that Kaye demonstrates. Kaye and I used to, I don't think I've ever met anybody who could kind of stick with me the way Kaye could stick with me. It didn't matter where we were going, what we were doing. We were up for anything. We would try anything. We would go meet people we had never met. We would go she was ride or die. She was ready to go into any experience. And I remember there was one time when we were outside of a club in Louisville, and I actually got jumped by about 9 to 12 guys. And Kaye comes barreling down the alleyway in my car, jumps out of the car, pulls a purse out, has a switchblade in her car, ready to defend me, opens up the trunk, throws my bat to me. I mean, she was ready to get into any situation with me, to protect me, all that kind of stuff. She's just extremely strong. And to grow up, to be a transsexual person in today's day and age it's getting easier, I think. And it's getting easier because there are women out there like Kaye who are kind of stepping out into this world. But it wasn't always easy. Definitely wasn't easy growing up in southern Kentucky and be a transsexual person. And so she's really had to be strong. So Kaye, do you see being strong and resilient as a quality that you possess?
I do, definitely.
Okay. And when do you think was the first time that you really started experiencing that strength that you had to have?
I would say I started noticing it in my late teens.
Okay.
Just my relationship with my parents and the ups and downs with them. I think that's when I started to realize that I was going to bounce back from things.
Okay. So, what was an experience where you first kind of realized it and you saw that was something that was available to you? And is it something that you kind of thought at that time, oh, I'm going to bounce back from this? Or was it another feeling that you had? And for everybody out there, this is really kind of, again, I've always told you that you guys really get it. You get to listen in on either my thoughts, and the last couple times you've got to listen in on really kind of experiences and relationships with people that are really close to me. So this is unscripted 100%. I didn't figure out until this last point, the last time we got on the phone, the last few minutes, which characteristic I was going to actually pull out of Kaye, because she really does demonstrate a lot of them. So this is very authentic, and I just want everyone to know that. So yeah, go ahead, Kaye. So was it? Did you immediately think, oh, I'm strong, or oh, I'm going to bounce back, or how was that experience for you?
I would say I remember it when my mother had kicked me out of the house, and it was and it was a time that I didn't have anywhere else to go. There was no family to go to. I had no one to call. And I think it was at that point, I had to make it work. I had to figure it out.
And so, and how did you do that? I mean, so I've never had that experience where I have been a youth and kicked out on my own. So that's not an experience that I've had to have. So how did you do that? And I know you and I have talked before, and part of the reason that I'm publishing my book is because there's a lot of young people, especially in the community that you and I belong to. There's a lot of gender and sexually diverse people in our community, and we interact with a lot of young people, I think, as well, because I think you have a heart for young people just like I have a heart for young people. So if you could kind of maybe talk about that experience, I think that there's probably opportunity that maybe some young people may hear this. So what did you do? I mean, because I think that being resilient is definitely a skill. You don't just there's a lot of people who have a lot of talents and skills out there, but they don't always seem to bounce back. So what did you do? What was it? What was going through your head? What kind of emotions were going on in your life at that point in time?
I was scared, of course. I was young. I was hurt. I knew that I just had to get through an amount of time and something would open up, whether it be a couple of days or a week. I know that I had to stay strong and deal with it. That's really what I was thinking. Like when we would fight, my parents and I had to deal with it until they got over it or someone in my family would open up to me. I guess yeah.
Okay. So, now, if you don't mind, and I've already talked to Kaye about, and I've gotten permission for us to kind of go there. So when Kaye and I were interacting with one another, I think both of us were in a place where I felt pretty broken at the time. I was definitely trying to heal myself. So it was never just a broken to be broken, but it's definitely in a place of I felt broken, and I was trying to walk through that healing place. And there was a lot of drugs involved in our life. Is that safe to say, Kaye?
There were a lot of drugs in our life, but we both were. I had just transitioned. I was in the process of. You, I believe, hadn't been in Louisville that long. Yeah, I think we were both going through some stuff.
Oh yeah, and at that point in time, and I've talked to you about it before on previous podcasts. Right in 2000 and the end of 2000 first part of 2004 was really when I had first had the opportunity to deal with sexual abuse that had happened in my life, and dealing with coming out and dealing with all of those things, and growing up kind of in a very conservative world. And so for me, a lot of my meaning and how I made meaning in the world was shaken. And so for me, a lot of the drug use was to fight depression. It was to kind of self-medicate. But we had to go through that. And I know that and me and Kaye, boy, we had some boy, we had some conversations, and we really, really went there with each other. I really did love Kaye, and I would have married her, but I don't think either of us were in that place where we were able to be whole with one another. But the thing is that Kaye always has demonstrated that strength and that resilience and that ability to kind of bounce back from things, and that was pretty amazing to me. And I know her history more than you know her history, and so I also know that Kaye, in being involved with drugs, Kaye got into some trouble with the law. And is that okay for me to go there, Kaye?
Yes, of course.
Okay. And so Kaye actually spent some time in jail and going through all of that. And she now has found a way to come back from that experience. But can you, where in all of that, what was going on with you? Because you really have bounced back in ways that, from everything that you've experienced, that a lot of people have not done. So I don't know if you want to, how do you want to talk about that and go into that?
About what part of it? Being in jail, or how it all happened?
Well, no, we don't need to talk about what happened, but I do want to talk about that experience of going to jail and then coming out of it and then figuring out, okay, there's something more for me. Like how did you work through that? Because okay, let me I guess say what I'm trying to get out of this. For me, in my life, I've had some experiences that have been difficult for me. And I've made some choices over the years where I've really, I was in the military. I decided to get out of the military because for me, don't ask, don't tell was going on. I was really coming to terms with my sexuality. At the time that we met each other, it was kind of very tumultuous. I was doing drugs, trying to really figure out my life, figure out where I was going, deal with kind of the pain of really just having my world broken. And then I've been putting in that work to really get myself back to a place of loving myself and all of those different kinds of things. And I think that a lot of people can understand that and relate to that, or relate to the world not turning out exactly how they had thought it would, how they had hoped that it would. But a lot of people don't know how to kind of pull themselves out of that place of, I'm really in this horrible situation that I never intended, and to think that their life is just done with. So, but you've found some way to come out of that, to get your mind in a place where you're going after things that you really love and care about. How did you do that? Like, what was going through your head? I would be interested in that, because I'm still moving to that thing where I really see myself. And so I think that if I learned a little bit more resilience, if I learned a little bit more strength and to pursue who I am from a place of not being exactly where I wanted, I think that would be wonderful for me in my life. And I think if I appropriated that into my life, it would only make my life better. So that's kind of what I'm trying to get at. I'm like, you were really in a dark place. How did you get yourself to where you're at now?
Okay. To start, when I got out of jail, I honestly was scared, and I ran. And I ran so far inside of myself. I ran so far away from the physical place that I was at. And I had to get completely away from the drugs, the cases, everyone that I knew, to realize that isn't who I was or where I was going or what
Right.
I wanted for my life.
Right.
And I can say, you know, it was probably, I would say probably 8 months, 10 months after I left the scene and I ran away from everything that I started having to put something together to make me be able to survive, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't, at this point, I had no one, and it was either continue the life I was on, which was going to end up dead or in prison, or turn it around and be happy and start fixing all the things that I was covering up with drugs and the wrong people.
Okay, so what I'm hearing in that is that you had to create a rock bottom for yourself. And this is, and to me that resonates because it's like, it sounded like if you had kept going with your life how you were operating, it could have kept going down and could have kept going down, and it would have kept going down. So it sounds like the first thing that you did to bounce back was to create a bottom for you so that you could push up. So, and then what happened?
I've never thought of it that way. I definitely, to hear you say that, I can see that I did that.
Now you've had a lot of experiences. Did you, in your life, that were really difficult? You know, I know that you had a tough time in jail. I know that there's just been, it can't have been easy to grow up and to transition from male to female. I mean, there's a lot of things that were going on in your life. So what were you thinking to think, okay, there's still more for me? I mean, that this isn't the place that I'm going to end up, that I can still create something else in my life. Like how did you do that? I mean, because even for me, you know, I get stuck, and you know me, Kaye, you know that I, like, you know, being an Air Force captain was important to me. Graduating from the academy was important to me. Coaching and doing very well at that was important to me. And so to not have those things around me was very difficult. You know, who my family was to me was important. The relationships that I had in life were important to me, and they were definitely part of my identity. And so when those things were stripped of me, it was difficult. It was really hard, and to not stay in that place of I don't have this, I don't have this, I don't have this. What were you focusing on to get you to move out of that place?
I was focusing, I can remember this almost like it was yesterday, just my beginning of transition, my divorce, shedding from everyone, all my family, everyone I'd grown up with. All I was focused on was me being happy. And unfortunately, I got to that point. I chose my happiness over my family. I chose me fixing my body to be right over my family. But once I started crossing into my new life, then I kind of got detoured on the drugs and looking for acceptance in places where I guess now looking back, I wouldn't go looking there because I can find it within me.
All right. And so,
answer your question.
Yeah, it did. What stuck out to me was that, and when you said that, it really does stick out to me because I get that. I get the fact that you go looking outside of yourself for all of those things because you're not doing something that you're going to immediately get approval from. And you know, in this world we live in, we have yes, this is good, and no, this is not good. But it doesn't mean that it's authentic to who you are. It doesn't mean that it really fits in with who you know yourself to be. And then you have to start taking those roads to go be authentic. And sometimes you have to go against what family thinks, and sometimes you have to go against what society thinks. And it's not an easy road for anybody. You know, I mean, I'm going back to the civil rights movement. It's like it was against what society was saying, and there was a lot of crap that people had to put up with to move things into a different place, and it was necessary. And, we appreciate the people who did that and fought those battles. And so now it's kind of our responsibility to fight those battles and to just keep on being ourselves because it's right and it's necessary. It doesn't always make it easy, and a lot of times when you've had the support of family or you've had the support of this institution and that institution to tell you, yes, you're on the right track, and then you don't, becomes a very scary place, and you do go look for places for acceptance or for that emotional stability. But just like you, I've come to that realization that I never would have gone looking there had I known that it was already there inside of me. So, so you're there now. Go ahead.
It was a lot of trial and error within myself and my choice making. Just trying to grow, trying to support myself, trying to change. You go down one road and get knocked on your face, and you have to turn around. And sometimes you go down the right road. All I knew is that I did not want to be unhappy, and I did not want the kind of love I guess I grew up with to be all that there was for love.
Okay.
So in growing, I've messed up a lot.
But this is the thing. We as kids, we are allowed to fail all the time. Like, we really are. And it's important to let us fail because that's part of learning. But that's how we always continue to learn. And for some reason, we have it put into our heads that as you get older, you have to stop making mistakes and failing. And it's like, and they're not necessarily failures. We're on our way to doing something. We're on our way to doing something new. And so there's going to be many hitches along the way. But if you keep going, you know what I mean? If you keep finding your authentic self, because this is, I think you have the same belief that I do, that authentically at our core, we are loving creatures. We are part of this divine, loving community of everybody. And when we're not operating in that, we're not operating in our authenticity. And so if you keep going to your authentic self, you're going to get to that love, and you're going to get to that place where you realize that it's 100% fully contained within you. And if you just keep on keeping on, you're eventually going to get to that thing that really fits for you.
Very true. Very true.
So how did you find the thing that fit for you? So how did you get from I'm making all these mistakes, I'm just surviving, to, okay, now it's time for me to start really thriving?
That's difficult. It really, over 6 years, I can say, from the time I left Kentucky, time that I moved out here to Nebraska, I had to, I don't know what it was within me that made me want to grow and be better and put out goodness. And I wasn't always that way. I was when I was younger, and then I kind of lost it somewhere in my early 20s. And then it took me years of, I'm not sure what it was exactly that I was working on. I just knew that, if you put good out, you're going to get good back. And even putting out something good, just that small return was making me very happy. Then I realized, I can do a lot more.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. And I guess I found, I don't know, I found myself. It's like love, just love, and be nice. And that I don't know, that kind of just, it makes me happy.
Okay, and then how did you end up going to school? How did that work out for you?
Everything has opened up for me, just one thing after the other. When I was rearrested, 2 years ago, after running for so many years, everything had fallen into place. Just months before, I had met attorneys, and they just were attracted, like, to my person, to me, and they wanted to help me. And my best friend in Las Vegas, like, everything, I look back, everything has added up for what I knew I wanted to do and be. So I went to jail. I got out of jail very quickly because I had met all these people. Everything had just worked itself out. And I knew that I wanted to go back into cosmetology. I'd done it 10 years ago and didn't complete it, and this is what I love to do. So everything just opened up perfectly for me. I'm not really sure how it happened, but I'm thankful it did.
Is there anything that you think you can, and you've already had so many experiences, is there anything you think that you couldn't make it through at this point in time?
There's nothing. There's nothing that could stop me. I don't think so. I've been through a lot of stuff.
And, I actually have there's a lot of young people around me right now, and I'm probably going to want them to listen to this. So if you had something that you could kind of leave them with, what would that be?
I would say love yourself, make yourself happy. There is nothing in this world that can break you as a person if you are for yourself. I've been through everything, and I really have. And I've grown from it all. And if you can look at things from a different perspective and not let something fall on you and crush you, instead, when something falls, get on top of it, you'll make it, definitely.
Beautiful. And so I just want to, that was beautiful. And I want to I took some notes while we were talking. And so one, I'm just going to kind of go back through them. So if I am trying to be resilient in my life and kind of push forward to the things that really matter to me and bring out that passion in me, that if I'm on that downward spiral, the first thing I need to do is create a bottom. I need to just draw a line in the sand that I'm not going down any deeper and start changing my mind to look more towards, to go within myself, to find love within myself, and to start figuring out what are the things that make me happy and moving towards those. And then even when I start moving towards those, being okay with trial and error, that it's just because you've decided to move in a different direction doesn't mean you're going to know exactly how to do it right away. You said it took 6 years' time, so it's a process. I have to understand it's a process that I can kind of stop the bleeding immediately, but the process of getting whole and healthy and powerful again is going to take time. It's going to take some rights and some wrongs. I just got to keep how I want to feel and who I want to be in my head and in my heart, and I have to keep putting out that good and allowing it and even expecting it to multiply.
Yes. You put it together perfectly.
Very cool. So I appreciate it. I really appreciate you. I know that it wasn't necessarily the easiest thing for you to get on here with me, but I appreciate that because, it's everyone is not going to be as real about their experiences as you or I, but people need for folks to be real because I just think we're in that time and age where it's kind of like, I believe that we're all creators of this life that we're living, and I want people to know how much power that they have and that it's time to really put your power to the things that really do make you feel good. And because when everything is said and done, you being the best you is only going to make me and my world better.
So true. I just want to touch on when you said, and it's not going to happen overnight. It did take me many years. I just want to be an example to those that are younger than me now, so it doesn't have to take them so many years,
Right.
I'm like, it did. I mean, I'm still growing, and it wasn't just the past 6 years. It's been the past 33, that's brought me to where I am. But I just want someone to just make up their mind and not have to go through so much that's unnecessary-ish, I guess.
Right. No, I get it. It's like, wherever you draw the rock bottom is where you draw it. You can draw it at exactly at sea level, or you can keep digging down if you want.
Right.
So
it's funny. There's times I've dug and dug and dug, and Lord, I don't know that I would ever make a bottom. But now if anything ever tries to go, if it's not going right, I have to stop it right then. I have to change my thought and go a different direction. And that's how I save myself now, I guess.
Beautiful. So what's next for you once you graduate in a month to the day?
Oh, it is a month to the day. I am so excited because I have finally accomplished something that I love very much. I've accomplished this, and I did it by myself. I put myself through this, I'm so excited. What am I going to do? I have so many ideas. I'm not sure. Whatever door opens that I feel the best about.
Beautiful. Well, I'm excited for you. I wish I had hair. I would let you do mine.
Oh, I won't touch on that one.
All right, well, if you hang on, I'm going to say goodbye. And I just want to thank everybody out there for keep sending me emails about what you're going through. Keep having these conversations. I get it that your conversations may not be as long as my conversations are, but really just have these opportunities to talk with people, to really open up your community, and to have these empowering conversations where you're going to learn how to take some of the tools that people in your life are using and appropriate them for you. Because honestly, if you build yourself up, you build your community up. And if you build your community up, you build you up. So just remember to care and remember to create your world. All right? I love you guys. I appreciate you.